Some of you need to stop right where you are and say, it's time for me to plan to bring somebody to Christ. You know, it's interesting, Pastor, it's been a few weeks ago now, show of hands, and, last time, if you talked to somebody about coming to church last month, you put their hands up. I've been thinking, you know what? We don't put it in our schedule. Some of you, the goal is never to share Christ in your head. When are you going to make a goal to share Christ? We had a goal a few years ago, some of you may remember. In the next month, I'm going to invite one person, just one person to my tag group. Do you know that we had several tags that went from 2 people to 15 to 20 people that year? You know why? Because they planned to do it. They scheduled it. They put time in their schedule for it. So let me ask you, when are you going to plan to bring somebody? Not, well, if I get around to it, I might think about it. I will have somebody here in the next 2 weeks. Because here's what I know about you guys. You will do what you plan on doing. You will do it. You are the first generation that said, I don't care what anybody says, I'm going to do what I want to do. So when are some of you going to do what you want to do? Because when are you going to start wanting to bring people to Christ? I will. You ready? First, real complicated. These are so complicated. This is one of the most complicated sermons ever. It's so simple. I always feel stupid preaching sometimes because I'm saying things that are so basic. The first thing about going and getting people is just opening your mouth and inviting them. You just got to invite them. Hey, you want to come to church tonight? Hey, you'll be at my house at 7. You'll be at my house at 6 and we'll go to church. Hey, the band's going to pick me up at about 5:30, 5 o'clock. Why don't you come over and come to church with me? Some of you have never done that in your entire life. The only person you ever invited to church was the boyfriend you were dating or the girlfriend you were dating because they were there that Wednesday. Oh man, I gotta go to church. We'll come. It's almost like an accident. The first thing to bringing him in is just invite him. Just open your mouth and invite him. So they might laugh at me. They're probably laughing at you anyway because they know you're a Christian, you're not acting like one. So let's just put that to rest once and for all. They are already laughing at you because you say you're a Christian and you never act like one, and in their darkest hour you didn't even try to tell them about Christ. They're already laughing at you. Some of you, that's a hard reality to choke down. You say, well, if I invite them to church, they'll think I'm a Christian. They already know you're a Christian. They know you're a bad guy. They're already laughing at you. So you might as well invite them. You say, but David, if I invite them, they may come and they may hear about Christ and they'll know how bad I am. Then you're going to have a chance to say, look, man, I know I messed it up. I'm trying to do better. But let me tell you, and just put it to bed and put it to rest once and for all. If you are a Christian, not acting like one, they're already laughing at you. They're also laughing at Christ. So the first thing you have to do is just invite them. Now, there's a second thing you got to do. It gets a little bit harder. Each one, by the way, gets a little bit harder. You have to involve them in something. There's this law of 7 touches that I read this book, and every piece of it rang true. To truly bring somebody into a position that you can introduce them to Christ, you must touch their lives 7 times. The first time is just a casual acquaintance, a casual encounter. But you've got to reach out to them. It means at lunchtime you've got to bust out of your little daggone clique that nobody likes and you're a bunch of snobs anyway, and you invite them to sit with you. It means one day when you're standing at the pop machine and they're a quarter low, you hand them a quarter and say, here. They're going to look at you like, what'd you do that for? Man, it's cool. Here's a quarter. You're touching their lives. You've got to open your mouth and invite them, and then you've got to involve them in something. We're having a bowling thing. We're having a lock-in. Tuesday night we're going to go hang out and find some people that are missing. You want to come? You've got to invite them, and then you've got to involve them. Some of you have invited people, but then when they get here, you ignore them like you don't even know them because they don't fit in your little clique, and then they never come back. It's the whole clique thing. You say, David, are you against cliques? No. Jesus had the first clique. Remember, he went out and chose 12 people. You guys, let's go. He had his first clique. His first clique changed the world. What's your clique doing? There's some people here tonight because of your clique, and by the way, there's some people here not here tonight because of your clique. So you got to involve them. Last thing. Perhaps the most difficult. You've got to introduce them to Christ. So Mr. David, but my life's such a mess they won't listen. Welcome to the real world. But David, I totally blew it at school yesterday. Man, I got mad and I was cussing and screaming hard. Everybody knows I messed it up. That's an even better reason to invite them to Christ. So you can tell them, this is what Christ did for me, and they're still working on it. Man, I messed up. It tells them unequivocally, look, God's not looking for perfection. Look at me. I'm not perfect. I just messed up yesterday. God's not looking for perfection. He's looking for your heart. You've got to introduce them to Christ. You know, not very often do I beg you guys. But I'm begging you to bring him in. Not just because you don't want to sit at the great white throne of judgment and cry. Because I don't want him to go to hell. There's going to be a teenager dying in the next 2 weeks because prom season isn't over. If that teenager hasn't been introduced to Christ, they're going to hell. And they're walking the halls of your school right now. They're sitting behind you in homeroom. They're sitting across from you in the lunchroom. They're playing on your 5-on-5 basketball team during gym. Guys, they're in your lives. Bring them in. Bring them in. Just invite them. Just involve them just a little bit in their life. Introduce them to Christ, no matter how you got to do it. If you got to bring them here so they can hear it out of JD or me or Don or Russ, or Chad, bring them in. They're dying. They're going to hell. We're standing and watching. We're watching. We've got the answer. We're watching. God gave this very clear, unmistakable command. Bring them in. I want my house to be full. Who was he talking to? And the master said to his servant, singular. It was always meant for one person. But Dave, I can't save the whole world. Don't worry about the whole world. Just get one at a time. Just get one at a time. Just get the one at a time that God's bringing through your life. Just get them. Get them. Let's pray.